Sorry, I had to shut the music. That's what I have blasting in my head all day, by the way. All right, so good morning, good morning, good morning. Let me get everyone in here. Let's see if I can press the buttons right. Okay. Oof. All right, good morning, everyone. Yeah, so when I'm working, I have these AirPods in, and the music that I'm listening to is like really deep, like techie type stuff that keeps you totally focused. So I was rushing to get the 10 o'clock live going, and I took them off, and it was still playing in the background. So that was the music you heard. So good morning, welcome. Okay, cool. So a couple of things. One, I'm actually writing a message in RVP now. Joe, I'm one of the points was to you in the sense that I did see the email. I haven't watched the video yet. I'm going to get to the video once we get to the simplified lander, which I have not gotten to yet, but I'm totally excited for the video. And thank you for making it. I'm like, your speak is so, it's perfect. Like, I really can't wait for that video. All right, good morning, Ian. Good morning, Brian. And Brian accidentally texted me over the weekend, and I now know what Brian eats for dinner: eggs and sausage. Right? Was it like kielbasa? My wife loves kielbasa, so, and I love eggs for dinner, so that works for all of us. Good morning, Deborah from Palm Bay, Florida. All right, so let me just get into it. A couple of things. One, our big event, or our total focus, and I'm really not sure it's going to be like a big event, but it is our Wednesday webinar. Now, the reason why it's so of focus to us is because it's multi-purposed, right? The webinar itself, yeah, that's awesome, Brian. The webinar itself might have 100, 200, 500. I don't really don't know. But it's the process of preparing for it, right? So it's twofold. Today I'm going to be completely, and when I say advanced statistics, I mean like the super duper duper advanced statistics where C1 plus X0 squared, blah, all that stuff is what I'm going to be deep into today. So since RHINO went public in October 18th, we had a 90-day pilot program, which was till January 18th. Now, of course, we have 5 days since, and it would be silly for me to just disregard this 5 days, so I'm going to have that as well. So it'd be like a 95-day pilot program. In doing so, I'm going to go through the entire blockchain of every purchase, of every sale, of everything. What is the measurable, forecastable statistics, the sell rate, the buy rate, who are they from, the individual that they were from, do they have any similar commonalities, demographic, like all of it. Because what I think we can prove is that the scale that we've created, or that the program, the platform that we created, does actually scale to infinity. And I had a very, very long conversation with an investor Saturday about this. And I think the numbers are even better than I'm letting on. So I'm really, really interested in peeling back the onion today and seeing what it reveals. And then tomorrow, I'll be taking that data set and then creating a presentation for it. So our Wednesday webinar is not going to be Anthony just kind of like talking and doing what Anthony does, but I want it to be an actual presentation. So I'm going to go through the AI characters, like the gentleman we have for the RHINO Street, or maybe the lady that we have for RHINO Bucks, or I believe the other lady for RHINO Welt. And maybe even other people too, I don't know. But I want to go ahead and be able to create the presentation in a very concise scripted format and allow each one of them to present. And then I don't know how to do things in the background, like can they go to a board? I don't know, like that will be tomorrow. And then what that will all lead up to is Wednesday, that when we get on the webinar together, I can moderate it. Hey everyone, I'm super, super excited to present the following data. You are the first ones to see it. And I believe it has really consequential implications and that will benefit us all going forward. Without further ado, boom, and then play it. In which case, if you do it like that, I do think we could probably do it in 20 minutes, maybe even 30 minutes. Enough of these like hour webinars, nobody has time for that. Because also the other side of it is, yeah, we're not going to have this big, bazillion people webinar, but that presentation will be seen a bazillion times, because the conversation that I had Saturday produced a yes. And like I said, we were looking to raise 200,000. And although it's not in our hands, like, let's make that clear, we did get a yes. And the yes was a really high endorsement. It was one of those, Anthony, I honestly think you're probably one of the more special people I've ever, like, I want to be a part, I see what you're doing. I can't believe it. Yes, 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 across the board. Now let me go get it. Because this individual doesn't have it all to himself. He has a couple of really good friends and they all trust each other. Hey, I found this really great idea. You know, why don't you come in with 50? Why don't you come? Okay, cool. So hopefully it's that easy. Nothing in life is ever that easy, but oddly enough, when you're raising money, it's like the only thing in life that's that easy, because the difficult part is making the decision to do it. It's always the easiest part to actually give the person the money. And it's kind of counterintuitive, but when you talk to people that actually have money, giving the money is, yeah, have my assistant wire it to you. It, because they have a certain level of pride in saying yes, their word really means a whole lot. Like, that's who they are. So when the individual says yes, the money's the easy part. They just send it over. The difficult part about this one, not difficult, but the unique part about this one is that the individual needs to actually talk to the other individuals, which he assured me he thinks would, not be too consequential, but it might require me on the phone again. And everyone knows how much I love my brother Joey. Called me yesterday to actually because he's interviewing for a position and it's kind of techie, and he wanted to, Ant, if I was your number two, what would you have me be doing? Long story short, it was a 45-minute phone call, and at the end of the phone call he goes, you know how I know I'm your favorite brother? I go, you're not. He goes, ha ha ha, I am. I was like, how? He goes, you don't talk to anyone, you just talk to me for 45 minutes. I go, please stop reminding me, I gotta go, goodbye. He's like, when was the last time you were on the phone for so long? I go, actually, I was on the phone Saturday for an hour. He goes, wow, it must have been someone special. I go, well, it's for the company. We needed to raise money. He goes, oh, okay. The point being, anyone that knows me, and Deborah could attest to this, I do not like being on the phone. Even my wife doesn't call me. She texts me. But if she calls me, I know it's an emergency. Like, I have to pick up because she knows not to. In fact, when we started dating, she would call me and I'd say, can you stop calling me? You could text me. And she thought I was kind of being like machismo, like macho, like, oh, I'm too cool, don't call me. And she's like, are you serious? I'm like, no, I'm actually really being serious. Like, if you need to talk to me on the phone, then this is never gonna work. Like, don't call me. I love hanging out with you. We could do it in person, but I do not want to be on the phone. I'm on the phone all day. Text me. And at that point, she's like, okay, I respect that. Like he's not being machismo. So anyway, the point of the story is all things are good. And not only are they good, they're about to get much better, because once that comes in, which hopefully the next 7 to 10 days, that's going to finance finally the marketing campaign, which the marketing campaign is going to be completely built on what we do today and tomorrow to create that presentation for Wednesday, which will either act as the presentation that goes out and or the template for how the marketing campaign is built out. In which case, we're going to contact and interview agencies. We're going to do it the right way, right? Like, everyone knows RHINO is successful despite Anthony's ability to market, not because of it. So I would like to actually speak to someone who's doing 100 million in YouTube spend every single year and has an agency and has like a bazillion Facebook accounts and blah, blah, blah. And what kind of actually is a little bit of a turnoff of that is it's going to cost money. They'll charge maybe 20% of ad spend. And if you're spending 100,000, it's like, well, it's going to cost us $20,000. But the cool thing about that industry, when you're not short-sighted, is that what would it cost me to do by myself, right? I'd have to spend X amount of hours studying it, testing it, perfecting it. I'd probably be disappointed many times by different ad accounts shutting us down, because Facebook's notorious for doing stuff like that, especially if they don't know us. And of course, we have a good relationship with them, but we're not spending hundreds of millions of dollars a year. If we don't do it perfectly, what's the conversions look like? How do we find the conversions? And what kind of pixel do we have? We don't have a good one. We don't run ads. So how does our machine know anything? So the point being, the conversion for us to do by ourselves, let's say is, I'm just throwing a number out there, say it's like $2 per person that eventually signs up. Well, for the agency, it's likely probably 80 cents. If it's $2 for us, it's probably 80 cents for them, meaning they're outperforming us by what, like 120%, something very material. Meaning we're not paying them per se, they're keeping a percentage of the savings. And when you start looking at things like that, then you realize, well, that's pretty good. In fact, marketing agencies should actually speak in those terms. We don't charge you. We just keep a percentage of your savings. And now, of course, how would you ever calculate that, right? But they could easily say, okay, since you think that, this is what we think it would cost you, this is what we think it would cost us, and this is the model, and this is the savings, so this is what it's going to be. And if you don't believe us, we would like you to go ahead and run your own ads for a week, and whatever that number is, we're going to use that number. In which case, the person, especially if it was me, I'd say, no, I believe you. Because if I'm then held to my number in my first week, get out of here. It's probably going to be awful. So despite my inability to market, I kind of think I just gave marketing agencies a new way to market. Say that 10 times fast, right? RHINO is at a new all-time high again today, 246 and change. The RHINO Partners is down again, but again, for those that are just joining us today, this is for you. For those that have been joining us, they're going to be like, Anthony, you sound like a broken clock, is that? Or a broken cat? I don't know. Whatever sounds the same all day. I guess not a broken cat, right? A broken clock or something, I don't know. But we're purposely in adding our partners, there was one of two ways of doing it. Either continue marketing to our known ecosystem, which has seen kind of a bit of a plateau, or extend out and introduce ourselves to new individuals. And to do so is what our webinar event is. In fact, I think we have like 170 signups. And some of them, most of them are, not most, but about half is ours. But the other half is people that have never heard from us. In fact, we emailed today 23,000. Our email today was 23,000 larger than it was 2 weeks ago. And that 23,000 is all new people that have never heard of us. And there is a fine line between spamming and introducing yourself. So when you read our email, I think you understand that's the route we're going. Hey, we were thinking of you. We really like you. And that's all true, but we have to be really, really a light touch because we are interfering in someone else's life that did not invite us into it. But we do believe that we can add value to their life. So we're just saying, hey, we really would like to meet you. And if you were thinking about this, and thank you for your consideration. The point being, all 23,000 new emails that we did not email 2 weeks ago stands fair to reason that if we have a good message, we're going to be able to meet many new people. And those new people we meet will allow us to go ahead and add our partners. So whether it be you're adding one new partner a day for 2 weeks, or you're adding, say, 100 new partners in one day, I would go for the latter. Now, I'm not sure that's going to happen, but all the new partners that we will add Wednesday will be partners that did not previously know us, which in itself offers, a infinite amount of future possibilities. Broken record, thank you. Broken record, as in vinyl records. Now, you know what? I do know what a vinyl record is. I remember watching Antique Roadshow. It was in black and white, so I changed the channel. I'm just kidding. I had to move the antennas and turn the knob. Just kidding, Renee, I love you. So no one else, she wrote it to host and panelists, but she said broken record. So that's the commentary on the partners, that's a commentary on RHINO price. As you can see, the email number, which actually is important, right? So I've always reported how many emails are being opened because it stands fair to, it's fair to reason to me, especially because I have a bit of a sales background, that there is a top of the funnel, right? Like that's what it's called now. But to do anything, you need to have people to talk to. So for instance, if I only have 10 people to email, well, it doesn't matter what I'm emailing, my ceiling is pretty low. If 100% of the people want to purchase from me, that's 10 people. Now, if I'm emailing 1 million people and only 1% of the people want to purchase from me, I'm certainly not as good as that person, but 1% of 1 million is like what? Like 1,000, right? Like it's a big number. It's actually 100 times larger than the 10 number. Meaning, the more people that are opening your email, the more people that are going to be able to participate based on your conversion percentage. So if you're converting 5% of whatever that number is, obviously you want the number to be higher. So all things start with how many people are opening your email, which is actually the most important number to me. which is why I report it. And as you can see, that number's been steadily increasing, and that's a complete effect of our new emails going out. Oh my God, so cute. Yeah, we had to run home from school to turn. Yeah, I remember that. I had like 13 channels and I had to turn the knob. And again, you guys can't, sorry. Basically, we're having silly, like my generation versus your generation jokes. Okay, so I think I touched on everything. So that email is going to look the same again tomorrow and Wednesday. Same-ish, right? But then after Wednesday, our webinar's done and we'll figure out what that email looks like Thursday. Also, lastly, what I am going to do today, and Brian came up with it as an idea, and it's a fantastic idea. He's like, Ant, do you want me to write you a bit of a testimonial? Like, can you use that on your webinar? I was like, yeah, that'd be a great idea. Like, duh, we need to have some type of like people like us, right? Like, we're not just numbers. People have an opinion. In which case, I'm going to send that out to everyone today. So all those that have ever had a RHINO plan, I would like to send out a bit of a survey. I think it's going to be simple, like what brought you to RHINO, why are you still in RHINO, and why haven't you sold RHINO, right? Something like that. Because I think those are the important metrics to go ahead and share with someone. So if you're presenting data to someone and you're saying, hey, listen, we created a model that everyone really likes, and because everyone wants to be a part of it, it can really, do great things or whatever. It would be fair to say, and this is what the people in the model of our 90-day case study have been saying. Yeah, I came to RHINO because of this. I came to RHINO because of this. I'm still in RHINO because of this. I've never sold RHINO because of this, or I've sold very little because of this, or I don't want to sell RHINO because of this. All of that would add really, that's really good. And Brian goes, yeah, I'm not asking you to pay me for this. I'm like, I wouldn't. You can't pay for a testimonial. That's like seriously unethical. I do think there's probably a reward for a testimonial, right? Like, oh, if you complete this, I'll send you one RHINO buck. Like, I don't know. I think that's okay. So I'm going to think on that a little bit. I am going to send that out hopefully very, very soon. And maybe I'll add a reward to it, right? Like, I don't think I'm going to, because I think the commentary would be even stronger from those that are not being rewarded to do so. I'm sorry that I'm thinking about this out loud, but I think that's what I'm going to do. We need transparent round sheet decal and our members can display. Yeah, soon. We can get to all the fun stuff. But it's funny because, and I'm just riffing right now, so this last minute is just me kind of like opining. When I was talking to my brother, Joey, yesterday, and again, he doesn't really know how big RHINO is because like he has 1,000 things, but he's looking to take an operations manager position. He's like, if you had a number 2, what would they do? So I'm going through it. I was like, well, we have our search department, we have our concierge department, we have our communications department, we have our app development department. And the biggest difficulty that I have, which is why I don't have a number 2, is because the amount of time you have to spend to identify the number 2, then train the number 2, and let them be the sole discretion on how to go ahead and create goals for each one of those departments. So it allows me to still go on. And then the performance of those departments, do you blame the department heads or do you blame the operations manager? By the time you realize the operations manager wasn't a good operations manager, how much money did you spend? How much time have you lost? How much of everything? So he goes, wait a second, you have like 4 departments and you don't have an operations manager? I was like, no. I was like, because it's so much time and money to find the person. And that's assuming that you find the right person. If you find the wrong person, it's leagues worse because now you look like a fool to your department heads that see that you put someone in place, but they weren't good. And are you a good judge of character anymore? And what people getting over on you? But in having all this conversation, he's like, wow, there's a lot of stuff going on over there. I was like, yeah, there is. So we wish him luck on his interview today. I told him to use RHINO Street to play with the AI. I showed him the landers. I shared our most recent challenges, like the bot and how we solved it. So he's going to be able to go into this interview with a really like, hey guys, this is what I know. But anyway, that's just me talking out loud. Lastly, V, our head of concierge, it's her 21st birthday today, and I don't really think it's her 21st, and we know that, but she is a wonderful lady. So she's 21 in all of our eyes because she's that youthful, amazing, and wonderful. So if anyone has the opportunity to speak to her today, make sure to share happy birthday. And that is all. Totally love y'all. I'm going to be completely unavailable today because I'm going to be completely in these numbers. And that's it, right? So I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.